Hello and welcome to another installment of the Hareline Dubbin Material Kit. Top 20 patterns for the beginners. How about that? Everything you need in one box to tie the top 20 patterns twice over. This is number 14 of the series. This is the Comparadun. This is a very productive dry fly pattern. For me personally, I use them for panfish, but you can easily use them for probably their intended purpose, which would be Mr. Trout. Anyways, for this we're going to want to find that size 14 dry fly hook. Thread's going to be a black 8/0 Veevus. The tail is that sparkle emerger yarn, gray. Body is a micro fine dry fly dub Baetis gray. And the wing is a Comparadun natural deer hair. So let's go ahead and slide on over to the bench and tie a couple of these up. What do you say? So once again, the base of these are size 14 dry fly. Go ahead and secure that into our vise, just like so. And the thread, one more time, we have a 8/0 black. Alright, first things first, let's go ahead and start our thread about an eye's length behind the eye. Aye. We'll wrap rearwards towards the bend, locking in that tag end, and we'll just go ahead and trim that off. We're going to do a quick thread base. So we'll wrap our thread all the way back. And then we're going to wrap our thread forward. We're going to park our thread right at that one eye's length behind the eye. And we're going to want to grab that Comparadun. Look at that, there's a typo. H-A-L-R. Maybe the I just bled in. H-A-I-R. I don't know, you tell me. The little things you notice, right? Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to end up taking about a matchsticks. That's what we're after. So on this end, what I like to use is Mr. Bodkin. We'll come in with our bodkin and just isolate a little bit, right about like that. Take a little bit more than you need at first, because we're going to strip it down a little bit, clean it up. Nice and close to the hide. I'm going to actually set it down on the bench to cut. Once we got our nice clean cut, we need to clean and prepare this. So holding it by the tips, I'm going to strip that underfur out. The underfur and any short little guard hairs that are in there. Actually, your guard hairs are the long hairs, that'd be the underfur. So once you got that cleaned out, no tools needed, but another little bonus, if you have a brush, works really good to get that cleaned out and straightened out. So when you compress down on that, it should feel about like a matchstick, not much bigger. Alright, we want to line up our tips. And we want to go tips forward into our hair stacker, and instead of just trying to jam it in like that, I'm going to kind of go at a little cyclone. I'm just going to helicopter it in until I can just drop that in. Alright. We'll give it a few wraps on the table. Alright, take your hair stacker, hold it sideways. We'll remove the base, and we can grab the tips. Nice and careful. Set that back together. Alright, we need to measure this out. 1 hook's length. We'll set that forward. We're tying it tips forward. one soft wrap to capture it. It's going to flare up. That's okay. Keep your thread wraps behind it. And we're going to wrap rearward just a little bit, locking that in. And then this excess, we're going to trim off the back. Trim that off nice and close to the shank of the hook, and you can do it at an angle if you want, and that'll help give us a nice little taper. A couple of strays. I'm just going to take a moment, clear those out. I'm going to secure that just a little bit more, some locking wraps. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to do a couple of wraps in front. And I'm going to take my thread and work it back again, continuing to secure that Comparadun wing. Alright, at that point I'm going to just pause right there. And I'm going to grab my sparkle yarn. Some pretty stuff, huh? Alright, so it comes in different little segments. So we're going to isolate one segment. And this will be enough for half a dozen flies. We'll just trim that off. We're going to work with just one of these. Alright, so my thread is parked just a little bit behind my ramp right there. As my hair is done, we get right to that shank of that hook. So that's where I have my thread parked. Right, I'm going to use the lift and lower. Go around, I'm going to lift and lower my material. Set it right on top. I'm going to go over it once more, twice more. And I can cinch this down. Watch that. I went too far. We'll try that again. We'll lift it on top, lower it down, couple of wraps. There we go. Keep it on top, and we'll wrap our thread towards the rear of the hook, keeping our material on top. That looks pretty good. I'm going to bring my thread forward just a little bit and trim my excess of the sparkle yarn that's up front. Nice and close. Alright, so for my tail, I want it to be about a hook's length. If you pull back, a nice little clean cut. So what's in front as is in the rear? Alright, who's ready to dub? We're going to get our microfine dry fly dub can. And what do we know about dubbing? We know sparse is narce, less is more or less. So one little tuft, and spread that out. We're looking for it to be nice and airy. You don't want it to, if you drop it, you want it to float down. You don't want it to just hit the table. Stretch that out. We're going to create a nice tight dubbing noodle, twisting our thread one direction. We're not doing this. It's a one-way. It's a one-way rotation. All right, we'll start our dubbing. All the way to the rear. And you guessed it, we're going to build a slightly tapered body, working our way up from the rear to the front. I'm going to add just a little bit more dubbing, because we're going to go on the front side of that hair. back, let it fan out. We're going to do a couple of cross wraps around there because we want to get a little bit of dubbing in front as well. That's what's going to kind of help hold that wing up. Alright, we're right at the front of the fly, just right behind the eye of the hook. We'll finish this with a whip finish. Not really building much of a head, we're just finishing the dubbing, then going right into our whip finish. And there you have it, that is our little Comparadun. Trim off our tying thread. And you guessed it, we're going to add a little dab of insurance policy on this one. A little drop of head cement, and you got it. We have this Loon Outdoors water-based head cement. Comes with this nice brush-on applicator, but for this fly it's just a little bit too big. So we're going to use our bodkin. Get a little drop on there. Let it soak into your thread. And there you have it. That is our Comparadun. Wing kind of flares out a little bit. That's what we're after. A little flared out wing. Excellent. Alright, let's go ahead and set this one off to the side, and we'll do that again. Again, our hook is a size 14 dry fly hook. Get that secured into the vise. Beautiful. Alright, thread. Again, we're going to be using that 8/0 black Veevus. We're going to start our thread about an eye's length behind the eye. We're going to start laying a little thread base. Pause for the cause and trim that tag end off. We'll continue laying that thread base, wrapping from the front to rear. Be oh so mindful of that tip of that hook. Now we can work from the rear to the front. Park that thread an eye's length behind the eye. Aye. And we're going to get our Comparadun. And guess what? Because we did such a nice job trimming right there, we can come in for our next piece. I like using that bodkin to help separate it. And again, we're going off of the hide. It's a little bit prouder, a little bit bigger than a matchstick. Like a thick matchstick. So I want to come in there nice and even. Okay, I'm going to trim this off on the bench because it's 1,000 times easier than trying to hold this in front of the camera. Alright, let's go ahead and clean our hair. Let's get our long ones out. And then we're going to hold it by the tips nice and tight. Clean all that under fur out. And it likes to go everywhere. And if you're looking for something to experiment with, you can actually use this under fur as a dubbing. So clean that out. Give it a little pinch. Let it rotate. Alright, we're going to end up with our matchstick. One way or another. Still feeling just a little bit too big, so I'm going to take a little bit out. That feels a little better. Alright, we want to line up our tips, so we're going to use our hair stacker. Okay, I'm going to go in at an angle that. Couple nut. Uh-oh. We knocked it. I took a second and I looked away to check the monitor, and my hair stacker dropped out. Let's just try that again. Hello. Alright. Lay your hacker, or pick up your hair stacker on its side. And carefully grab the tips, which are nicely lined up now. We're going to measure this out 1 hook's length. I tie this in up front. Tips forward. 1 soft wrap to capture it, and a couple more locking wraps. And it's going to flare out a little bit, and that's okay, that's what we're after. Keep it on top. We'll take a couple of wraps towards the rear. We're going to trim off our excess. And if you cut it at an angle, you'll end up with a nice little taper. Which there's nothing wrong with a nice taper body. Work that towards the rear. And we'll come back forward with that, locking that down. Alright, so I'm going to lift up my hair. And I'm just going to take a couple of wraps in front. I'm not really trying to lift it up yet. I'm going to use the dubbing for that later. Work our thread towards the rear. And once we get to the bottom of our ramp, we're going to pause right there. Let's grab that sparkle yarn. Trimmed off 1 little noodle of that. We're going to do our lift and lower. Lift it up, lower it on, just like that. A little bit of effort, very minimal effort. And we have our material on our hook. I'm just going to take a couple of wraps, and now I can cinch that down, keeping it on the top side of the hook. We got a couple of the Comparadun hairs in the mix. We don't want that. Good. Now we'll wrap this towards the rear till we get to the bend of the hook. Trim off our excess yarn. Nice and close. We can trim our tail to length at this point. We're going about a hook's length. That one's a little bit shorter. Guess that's the way that one's going to be. Alright, let's find our dubbing. This is that microfine dry fly dub. And as you know, say it with me now, sparse is narce. More or less. Alright, we'll take 1 little piece, just kind of fluff that out, stretch it out. We're going to do our dubbing noodle. Take a little bit out. We're going to pinch that on the hook and twist. Pinch and twist, pinch and twist. One direction, it's a one-way twist. We're going to work that onto our thread. Moisten your fingers if you need to. There we go, nice big dubbing noodle. We're going to start wrapping this on. Avoid that tip of the hook. And we're going to build our tapered body. I got just the right amount for the whole fly. Lift that hair up. Let it kind of flare back and out. Take a little of that off. That's going to be us right there. our thread directly behind the eye of the hook, where we'll finish our dubbing and go straight into our whip finish. Well, since I'm building a big head, we're not locking anything down, just the thread. Alright, we'll trim off our tying thread nice and close. And we'll come in with our little drop of insurance policy. And for these, we're using that Loon Outdoors water-based head cement. A little drop on the bodkin. And with enough practice, I've seen others just add their head cement to their thread prior to and apply it as they whip finish. Other people do it, just not really my style. Nothing wrong with it though. So there you have it. That is our Comparadun. We got that wing kind of flared out nice and off to the sides. I like that. Questions, comments, concerns? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Again, this is a part of the Hareline Dubbin material kit, top 20 patterns for the beginners. So, what do you think? That one was a lot of fun. I really enjoy taking the time with these smaller dry flies. I think they can be really a lot of fun. Their size might be a little intimidating to some and others, but take your time. Less is more. Keep it sparse and have fun with it. So that was the Comparadun. What do we have up next? On deck for our next video will be the elk hair caddis. I love a good elk hair caddis. It's a very productive pattern for me. I fish that quite often when I go out to Montana to fish for those trouts. And believe it or not, we fish them here in Minnesota too. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. Be sure to join as we continue along on this journey of the top 20 patterns for the beginners. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, happy tying, and you betcha, tight lines. Peace.